Hey everyone! Today I wanted to go over the Keys to the Castle DLC for Project Spark. The community had challenged me after I did the Haunted Cornfield challenge to come up with as many unique props as I could using only the Keys to the Castle DLC. So I thought this is the perfect pack to do this with. One of the first things you'll notice, obviously, this is a castle-based DLC, so it's a very expensive builder pack, and one of the things that I believe the props suffer from is a sameness that it's hard to get away from the castle look. So some of the tips that I would give you when building with it is to use resizing. As you can see here, a lot of the power of this pack comes from the resizing. These props look great, really small or really large. There's a lot of flexibility. As a matter of fact, it's crazy on some of them the amount you can resize them large and small and recolor them for that matter. Some of the individual props have 10 different parameters to recolor. So speaking of which, I have a little tip here to show you. Recoloring is key to getting away from the initial look of this castle pack to give it your own feel. So here's a quick tip that could be used throughout all of Project Spark. If we go into the colors and change the coloring from RGB to HSV, which is hue, saturation, and value, I come down here and just change the hue with the D-pad. Let me dial in an exact number and do that for the next one. Just the D-pad, not changing anything else. And of course for the third one, what you'll notice now is I'm able to change the hue but kind of keep the theme the same. The different tiles are shaded appropriately and accordingly to the way of the original look. So you're not just randomly scrolling around trying to dial in a color. Using the hue, saturation, and value to me is a lot more accurate because they are tied to going up down with the D-pad or using or left right with the D-pad for the saturation amount and the value for the left stick moving it around. So you're able to dial in a more exact number, and I love that because it's very difficult with the controllers to get an exact number, as you'll see here. Try to do that with this and it's just a little off. It's one of the weaknesses I think of Project Spark in general. You should just be able to dial in a specific number, but you can get pretty close. So the third thing I would do to kind of get away from the look of the castle-y thing and to kind of create unique props is look at them from all angles. Flip these things, rotate them, think different. As you can see here, these things I sunk in the ground, those are castle tops that I just put in the ground, and I'm not exactly sure what you want to use them for here. I just thought, hey, I'll stick this little outpost pillar on top of it, and again shrunk it down really small, but it looks completely different and I actually really dig the look of it. So again, just another castle top, you get the idea. Turning and rotating is essential, as I'll show you with some other things that I've made. These are my favorite props of the whole pack, and that is the gears. You could do a kind of old school robot or steampunk kind of stuff with them. Well, it was the first place my mind went, so let me show you my my attachments to this robot guy here. I apologize for the camera, it's a little wonky. I could have spent some time fixing it, but I just thought, hey, I just want to kind of show off what I was doing here. Again, I could have probably taken a lot more time to dial him in, but I only spent a whole hour on all this stuff just to kind of get it out there into the world to show you guys some of the things that you could do. He was kind of fun to make. If you get up close here, use the gears for his eyes, for this little Princess Leia buns he has on the side of his head. Some other castle pieces as well. Those things just look like shoes at the bottom there too as well. So you could see, if you take a look at all the different props, quite a few. You know, I'd really like to dial this guy in more and make him look great, but you know, got other games to play. Don't have that much time to dedicate towards just this. And of course, a super obvious one here. You could shrink down the castle top. Maybe this is a straw hat. You could do a little garden gnome, yard gnome. If I could use the brute, made a little fat guy. You know, give him a white beard. That'd have been good. So the next thing I want to show you here is I was inspired to make this little stone thing into a pile of gold. I was inspired in the Legendary Arsenal. I have that little prop next to it there. Those are ingots. It looks like gold, silver, and bronze ingots. I probably could have recolored those to look like that, but I wanted it to be all gold. The only two props I have in this that are not from the pack is that, for an example, and there's water in an upcoming one as well. So this here is my boat. I thought, hey, you know, let's use these castle pieces and the rooftops, and there's a rudder, front, back, as you could see. Let's pull it up out of the water here. You know, there's that gear again. I love that look, and as you could see, I used the flags there for maybe a closed sail. You know, not perfect, but it's fun looking, and it fits within the theme of the whole Project Spark look. Again, with that big castle top just reshade to be a tree. Use that pillar underneath. It's a fun thing to do, different looking tree. Very cool. I see a lot of people using big props together to create giant words for their title screens for their games, and it kind of creates a cool effect to see the game in the background. So these work great because you have two sides to them that are unique, could be recolored. And again, what's great about these is how they could be resized. All the props in here shrink down really well. They grow really well as well. So again, I could have recolored them, but you guys get the idea. I like those different panels, the way it's curved there in the E. So let's come down here. This next thing I actually thought was like benches or stands. Turns out it was just wooden ladders. But of course I thought, hey, wouldn't that be cool if it was some kind of like benches? So I put it around. You could make this like an arena. This is a small version. You could do a much larger version if you wanted to have some kind of arena battle. You could paint these. I used this in one of my other videos for the wrestling thing, to have that out in the stands. Again, with the props, there's the bit of water that I used just to illustrate that, hey, that's kind of a cool looking little stone pool. Oh, it's the bottom of this prop right here. So pretty easy, pretty obvious. There you go. We'll just get rid of that. So this next thing here, I'll show you my little Wheel of Fortune wheel. Or actually, I should say the Price is Right would be more accurate. So let me go live here. Just put a little rotation on it. And of course I could have made it to where you guy pushes it and it spins, but I thought, hey, that's kind of cool, something a little different. Maybe could shrink it down quite a bit and have it part of the Village Festival pack. And of course, when I saw that wheel spinning, I thought, hey, tires for a car, and those are spinning the wrong way, so we need to fix that. Again, kind of funny, as you can see. Always a work in progress. Always, those are doing all right. So I'll have to invert these other ones. But you can see the car here, just a little vehicle that I put together. Again, would like to spend a little bit more time on it, but I wanted to limit myself where I could spend a month tweaking this. So let's go ahead and invert these wheels. Get this right. INV, invert. And invert. Paste. See? Ah, paste. There you go. Useful tool. And in theory, this should work correctly. Let's find out. Yes, there it is. Hooray. So it looks like a little dragster or something like that. I don't know. Oh, we could put motion to it, make it run around the place. Maybe I'll do that later. Very last thing I want to show you in my air, my sea, land, and air theme, I suppose, is the order I did it. This looks a little bit like some kind of Victorian ship, spaceship. You can see those could be the engines, the thrusters in the back. I love that little cone in the front there. It looks Whovian, like a little bit Doctor Who-ish, or definitely of a different era. You know, it feels like if there was a Victorian spaceship, that's probably what it would look like. So I had a lot of fun with this. Please follow me, the Steampunk Raygun, on YouTube, and at Steampunk Raygun on Twitter.